Hello, and welcome back to The Hungry Lamb. My name is Ming Dynasty, and last time, we continued talking with Mansui about, Yang's past. It was very brief, so it actually didn't amount to much. But then we kind of fast forward to the next day, where it seems like Tung came back, had some fun talking to Yinsen's friend, and now he's treating the girls a lot better. And we're like, this is kind of weird. So the next day, it seems like Mansui we did like the shadow puppet thing, and it seems like she's kind of suspicious. So later on, we talked with Tung, and he's like, why are you acting weird? Why are you different? And he reveals the truth. We are going to essentially give these girls to some rich official person, and he's gonna act out his weird fetish and probably end up killing them. So we're basically sending these girls to their deaths, so we're making the last few days of their lives a little bit better. And Liang is kind of like crushed, but he knows he has to do it because this official is a big deal. And we also see a lot of Mansui's past, how their family became extremely hungry and poor. The officers are taking away their food, so they try to recuperate some food by doing some shadow play stuff. But it seems like nobody is in any condition to give them any money or food, so they end up kind of failing. So they sell the shadow play stuff and they go home. It's been really, really depressing, but it's good. It's good. Another thing is that when Mansui was doing the shadow play stuff to Liang, he ended up getting, I don't want to say getting over his trauma, but he managed to go through the entire shadow play without basically igniting his PTSD. So that's good. But now we're in Shanzhou, we got to Shanzhou in about 4 hours. So we're gonna continue with the story and see what's left for us in the town. I'm really curious as to basically what Liang's gonna do, because now the truth is out. And he knows that it's going to be very difficult for him to do this, because his morals are at stake as well. Before reaching the gate, we untied the ropes from the lamb's waist. Tung reminded them sternly not to cause any trouble. At the gate, guards checked their pass from Yinsan. After a few questions about the lamb, we got into Shanzhou. Yeah, having them not tied up, it makes it a lot easier to actually go through official channels. The streets of Shanzhou were wide and bustling, with a sense of prosperity, unlike Huazhou or Wenxiang. Perhaps due to our eastward journey, there are fewer refugees, giving the streets an illusion of peace and prosperity. So east is where things are good at the moment. There are vendors, traveling merchants, and even performing monkeys. Monkeys! A monkey trainer with a turban guided 3 monkeys through the series of tricks, prompting spectators to drop silver into his copper bowl. After a stroll, Tung led us to a grim inn located in the secluded part of the city. This inn was similar to the ones in Huazhou and Wenxiang, situated in a remote area of the city. That's another one of Yinsen's connections. It did say that the official had several people basically supply him children. So this is probably the 3rd one. There was one in Wenxiang, but I forgot the name of the dude. This inn only catered to special guests like us on a mission.
何日も歩いてやっと千秋城に着いた。この道を見ろ。広い。この広さはまさに大都市だな。そうは思わんか、りょう。
Sure.
京城にいたことがあるりょう様には千秋城など大したことないか。
I stayed silent. Tung smirked and I brushed it off.
これから宿屋に行く。今日は休んでたっぷり飲み食いしよう。明日また出発だ。今日は気分がいいから飯は俺のおごりだ。好きなものを食うがいい。後で料理人に作らせて宿屋でたらふく食うぞ。
Tung led the way, speaking to the lambs following behind. He tried to cheer up the lambs, but they remained somber, and even the kids know something's up, especially Mansui. Maybe the lambs sensed the tension between us. None of them seemed cheerful.
みんな何が食いたいんだ？さあいえ、遠慮するな。何でもいいんだぞ。水事言ってみろ。
肉まん。
何？
Meat
はっきり言え。
buns!
母様、妹は肉まんが食べて。
そうか。わかった。じゃあお前は？
野菜まんでお願い。漬物がいい。
注文が多いな。探してみるがいい。 他のやつらは
魚が食べたいです。どんな魚でもいいです。
Matsui's like, I can't talk.
ねえ、肉まん、野菜まん、魚。じゃあ、それを買おう。おっと、口なしは喋れなかったな。りょう、お前は
I want justice. Anything's fine for me.
よし、じゃあ、お前と口なしで買ってきてくれんか。道中の食料も補給しといてくれ。銀子は俺が渡す。
No need. I'll handle the money. But why me and her?
あいつは何が食いたいか喋れない。一緒に行って食いたいものを買ってやれ。それにたくさん買ったら荷物持ちが必要だろ。
With a grin, Tung urged me and Mansui to hurry up and buy rations, insisting we come back to him for the money. I knew exactly why he wanted Mansui and me to go shopping together. When we arrived at the city, it was customary to replenish our supplies. Usually, Tung took care of this task. He was more eloquent, sophisticated, and skilled at bargaining, yeah. However, this time, he specifically instructed me to buy groceries, probably due to the lack of trust in me. My failure to give a clear response last night likely contributed to his suspicions. He didn't want me staying at the inn anymore, fearing that what I might say to the four lambs if left alone with them. He even worried I might set them free. The reason he was fine with Mansui coming with me is that he thought that she was mute and less likely to cause trouble. Yeah, that checks out with his character. It checks out with his character a lot. Alright, you stay at the inn. Keep an eye on the other lambs. I'll take her shopping. I glanced at Tung and then Mansui. Then I grabbed the silver and the bundle and headed out with Mansui. Shanzhou's streets were livelier than Huazhou's. They were filled with shops, including taverns, tea houses, pawn shops, and workshops. People brushed past each other as they walked. Looks like the monkey performer from earlier finished his act. Oh, we just saw Mansui's past where she and her father were performing shadow plays, but nobody gave any money. I wonder if someone's gonna give money to this monkey performer thing, and she's gonna be like, "Come on, that's not fair," and went back to his monkeys. Or maybe it's like, I want you to give some money to the monkey dude because I understand what it's like to be in his position. Depends on. I feel like I don't. Honestly, even now, I don't have a good read on Mansui because her past self and her current self are very different. And even though some parts of her past self show in her current self, it's hard to really completely get a grasp of her character. What? Glancing at her, it seemed that she had no intention of pretending to be mute anymore. Market, grabbing rations, fish, and buns. Tung already got their orders, so I'm set. How about you? Anything specific you want?
別に。りょう様は自分の好きなものを選んで食べればいいです。あ、そういえば食べたいものが一つある。さつまいもがあったら買っといてくれませんか？
Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes? What's that?
え？りょう様はさつまいもを知らないですか？
Honestly, never heard of it. Didn't come across it even in the capital.
じゃあ教えてあげます。さつまいもは舶来の貴重な品で、食べると長生きすることができます。
Who told you that? Daddy! We moved forward for a bit, and then I scanned for the market's location in Sanzhou. Time was ticking. It was afternoon and most shops were shutting down. Dang, it's early. We had to hurry, otherwise we might end up empty-handed.
りょう様、手をつないでくれませんか？
As I thought about finding the market, Mansui spoke up again. Why hold hands? I was puzzled.
りょう様は気づいてないだろうけど、ずっと誰かに見られてる。
Crap, I did not notice.
りょう様は私より十何歳も年上に見えるから、親子みたいに手をつながなかったら疑われてしまうかもしれません。
Not that old. At least say older brother. Mansui glanced around cautiously and whispered to me. Ooh, I'm kind of curious. No, I don't want to hold your hand. This is one of the routes where we potentially have a bad end. I feel like if we don't hold your hand, we're going to be questioned or attacked. So I'm going to decline. Nope. Master Liang never holds hands with a woman before marriage. Don't need it. I turned down her idea and walked ahead alone. This lass, her head really was full of ideas.
りょう様、あそこを見て、まんじゅう屋があります。
We just started when she called out. Boss, do you have any buns here?
はい、具入りと具なしどちらにしますか？
Build, do you have pickled vegetable buns?
ありますよ。一つ5文です。いくつ必要ですか？
Ah, buns seem more expensive than before. I remember they used to be 2 or 3 coins each, but now they're 5 coins. Must be because of all the disasters everywhere, pushing up the prices of grain and meat. 3 pork buns and 3 pickled buns, please. If you're buying that much in this time and age, you should probably negotiate at least a little bit for buying 5 buns. I thought for a moment and said to the boss.
お客さん、8個入りの方がお得ですよ。1カゴ32文です。
Let's buy 2 more. Last... Monsui, what kind do you want?
私も肉まんで。
Alright, 5 pork buns and 3 pickled vegetable buns. Here's the money.
はい、まんじゅう1カゴですね。少々お待ちを。
I handed over 32 coins, and he went to fetch the buns. While Matsui and I waited, we chatted for a bit
りょ
longer.
う様が京城にいた頃は、肉まん食べたことありますか？
Sure did. Lots of bun shops in the capital.
じゃあ、皇帝に会ったことありますか？
Never did. My family's been in the trade for generations. Never had a chance to see the emperor.
京城は泉州と比べて、どんな感じですか？
It's a bit more exploded. Wider streets, more people, otherwise pretty similar.
本当に差がないですか？きっと違うところがあるはずですよ。
Not much differences. Once you've been around, you'll see everywhere is pretty much the same. I feigned sophistication to Mansui, and soon after, I noticed the bun shop owner handing over a basket of
お客
buns.
さん、どうぞ。このカゴはおまけしときます。
Yas. Huh? Don't we pay for the basket? Why give it to us? Wait. What did he say? The buns are ready. Take the basket. I mean... Is he saying that we didn't pay for the basket? I'm confused.
いつもは1文いただいてますが、
Oh,
こち
okay.
らの可愛いお嬢さんにはタダで差し上げます。
Okay, that was it. Actually, you know what? I got the achievement. I'm kind of curious because it didn't really seem like this did anything. I'm gonna hold hands. Okay. And considered her point. Then I reached for her hand, leading the way to the
りょう
market.
様、あそこを見て。
Okay, yeah.
まんじゅう屋がありま
It
す。
didn't really affect anything, I guess.
はい。
Okay, we're back here.
ありがとうございます。
Thank
お
you,
じさん。
sir.
いい子だね。可愛いお嬢さんだ。
I grabbed the basket and caught Mansui giving me a smug look. I do like how smug she is. That last was quite the show off. I was like, man, if only people liked me when I was poor, like super poor with my family and my dad. After buying the buns, we asked the boss for the market's address and found it shortly after. Unfortunately, we were late. Many stalls had already closed. After a quick search, we found a fish stand still open. We bought a barely alive black carp and grabbed some cabbage and radish from nearby stalls. Despite looking around, we didn't find any stalls selling sweet potatoes. No sweet potatoes around.
もともと珍しいものですから。お父さんも苦労して手に入れたので、とっくに売っていなかったかもしれません。
Should we head back?
待って、りょう様。買い忘れたものがあります。
Rations. What's that?
影絵劇の道具。
Oh, right. Oh, right. Without Monsui's reminder, I almost forgot to buy the missing items from the wooden box earlier. To complete the shadow play, we needed more than just drums. We also required some donkey hide and wooden sticks to draw additional puppets. Within an hour, we got what we needed. The wooden sticks and the donkey hide were so easy to find in the carpentry and leather shops. The drums were not everyday goods, but luckily, there was a pawn shop at the market. The owner said that they mostly dealt in low-end stuff, and once something was pawned, it was gone for good. We found a theater troupe's drum there. After a quick haggle, I paid 200 coin for the set. Ooh, that's quite a bit.
りょう様、この楽器が200文って高いと思いませんか？
Hey, this is my portion of the money. It's my money. It's alright. Things are usually pricey at pawn shops. This much isn't bad.
劇団はどうして楽器を売っちゃったんだろう。
Times have been tough lately. Many people can't even afford food, let alone going to the theater. With few people attending shows, the theater troupe decided to call it quits.
劇団を辞めた人はどうするんですか?
Oh, well, you got me there. I don't have any friends in the theater troupe to ask. Oh, didn't you mention it? Your family used to be in the theater troupe before becoming regular folks? How'd that switch happen?
知らないです。おじいちゃんの代から領民になった。お父さんは教えてくれませんでした。そうだ、りょう様、聞きたいことがあります。
Yeah.
質屋には何回品物を入れたことがありましたか?
Never kept count. Probably dozens of times.
全部お金に換えるためですか?
Yep. Always for money. I calmly replied to Mansui. Back then, when food was scarce, I often pawned items. Starting out with tongue, I did a few deals and even took care of a few sheep. Initially, I kept some of their belongings, but later, when times got tough, I pawned them off to pay for food. Ah, yeah, he pawned off other people's belongings. Those transactions were pretty much final, and whatever was pawned was probably long gone. Good riddance. I didn't believe those sheep spirits would come back for revenge. But I still feared holding on to those items might attract attention from enemies one day, and he still has one of them, one of the things that has the word on it. After we got our stuff from the pawn shop, Mansui carried the groceries, and I held the drums. We headed back into the inn. I thought she wouldn't speak to me again on the way, but as we passed Sanzo's golden pagoda, is this the... that's like not really golden, but she surprised me by striking up a conversation. Damn brat, she's sharp. Mansui whispered, asking me, "Last night? A fight? How did she know that Tongue and I argued yesterday? Were you pretending to sleep, or were you following us too?" Well, now this gives it away. I think she could probably guess from your vibe. I stopped and glared at her. After I spoke, I realized that something wasn't adding up. She couldn't have been following us. I tied her up last night. She must have been feigning sleep. That lass probably squinted, pretending to be asleep while watching Tongue and me. She pieced together that we had argued from our reaction before and after our conversation.
私、昨日は眠れなかったので、りょう様がこう様と話しているのがぼんやり聞こえました。戻ってきたりょう様はずっと眠らず、考え事をしてたようだった。怒らないでください。知りたいだけです。昨日の夜は一体何を話しましたか?
I'd rather not say. Let's head back. I took her hand and tried to pull her along.
わかりません。りょう様とこう様はどっちの方が上なの?
I mean, I feel like we're equals, we just do different jobs. But honestly, out of our relationship, I do feel like Tongue is the person wearing the pants. He has all the connections. We just kind of do all like the hard labor work. He has all the connections. He's probably the one handling the money. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Tongue's the head. She remained rooted to the spot, speaking with her head lowered. We're both equals, just partners. I handle the physical stuff better. He's sharper with the words, so we make a good team.
じゃあ仲はいいですか? 義兄弟の契りを結んでいました。
Are you guys nakama? Just regular friends.
じゃあ、りょう様は彼の言うことを聞く必要はないと思います。まるで彼の方が上だったみたい。前にお風呂で慶城の爆発のことを話してくれましたね。りょう様はその事件の後で、身の定めは神が決めていることであって、人には何やっても逆らわないと思っているかもしれませんが、でも私はそうではないと思います。りょう様、自分で選択することができるのよ。
Mansui lifted her head, her big eyes staring straight at me, gleaming with radiance. I felt uneasy and puzzled by her stare. What did she mean by choice? Was she hinting at something? Quiet down, we're nearly at the inn. Just act like little mutes again. I avoided her eyes, took her hand, and headed back to the inn. On the way back, I stayed silent. She did too. Mansui and I made it back to the inn. I feel like Tongue's gonna be like, "You spent how much money?" Right as we entered, Tongue grabbed the groceries I bought and handed them to the cook. After about 2 hours, nearing dusk, the waiter ushered us to a room upstairs. Oh, it's our frickin' food! Yeah, there's 5 buns in this basket. There's 3 here. Probably to separate the veggies. And yeah, that's how you the Chinese people cook fish. Here's a radish soup. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of these dishes before. The cook has finished preparing the food and it was served on the table. Stir-fried cabbage, steamed carp, 5 pork buns, 3 pickled vegetable buns, and a big bowl of radish soup. I actually really like radish soup. It had been a while since I'd seen such a spread, probably even longer for the lambs. Tongue untied them and gathered around the table, eyes wide, drooling over the dishes.
俺も両様も約束を守る人間だ。悪いようにはしないと言ったら悪いようにはしない。まんじゅう、魚、お前らが欲しいものは何でもある。さあ、早く食え。
Tongue plopped onto the chair by the wooden table, rolled his sleeves, and dug into the food with his chopsticks. He swiftly grabbed a chunk of fish and gobbled it down.
うめえ。みんなも早く座って食え。遠慮するな。
Tongue swallowed a bite of fish and motioned for the lambs to take a seat. I led by example and sat down, with little mute following suit. The rest of the lambs nervously took their seats, but hesitated to pick up their chopsticks. Dig in, everyone. Basket of buns with pickled vegetables and pork. Each of you gets 1. I told the lambs casually and then grabbed the pork bun with my hands. Took a bite, the skin cracked, juices burst out, rich in taste. Delicious, tasted amazing. Way better than dried rations. Oh, she's like, I really want one. Watching me eat with relish, Kui couldn't hold back any longer, mimicking my actions by reaching for a bun from the plate. They actually removed one. Soon after, Hong-er, Mansui, and Chiang-hua each grabbed one too. The lambs eagerly nibbled on the buns one after another. They seemed starved, perhaps having gone without buns for quite some time. I paid close attention to Kui and Hong-er, the sisters who had requested the buns. Initially, they devoured the buns as if afraid that they'd disappear, but halfway through, they slowed down and savored each bite. With only 1 bun each, they likely worried about running out too soon and forgetting the taste. After finishing most of her own, Hong-er passed it to her sister. Oh wow. I was wondering why Hong-er didn't get like a meat one. And originally, like, maybe she's vegetarian, even though I don't know if they really had that concept back in this day and age. Or maybe she just liked the taste of vegetables more. But part of me is wondering if she got that so she can share with her sister, so they can have she can have a more balanced diet. Kui-er also offered her meat bun to Hong-er, who still seemed unsure. Stop fussing and take another. I intervened when I saw them bickering back and forth, putting an end to their indecision. There are 8 buns in total. Tongue and I were supposed to eat 2, but I don't like them. You can have mine. I said lightly, then picked up a pork bun and handed it to the 2 of them. Tongue's like, bro, I paid for this. The 2 sisters took my bun and started dividing it.
りょう、姉妹だけにひいきは良くないな。2匹の子羊が見てるぞ。
Alright, split into quarters then.
ほら、皇様からのお恵みだ。お前らにも分けてやる。
Tongue also grabbed the pickled vegetable bun, split it in half, and handed 1 piece to Mansui and the other to Chiang-hua. Mansui took the bun, smiled at Tongue in thanks.
皇様、ありがとうございます。
Chiang-hua, a bit nervous, accepted the half bun and quietly expressed gratitude to Tongue.
それから、この魚は両様が特別に買ってきたものだ。早く食え。
Tongue picked up his chopsticks, serving Chiang-hua a piece of fish. The buns are disappearing. Chiang-hua nodded. Oh, you can see that they're actually eating the fish now. Chiang-hua nodded nervously, avoiding eye contact, and began eating her share of the pickled vegetable buns and fish. Oh, you can also... all the food has been, like, diminished. I'm not sure about the radish soup, though. After a while, she took the first bite of fish. Tears welled up in her eyes. She tried hard not to cry, but the 2 lines of tears escaped and trailed down her cheeks. Quickly wiping her face to hide her tears, she resumed eating, bowing her head. Tongue and I pretended not to notice her tears. We didn't ask why she was crying, but we understood. It was likely the first time she had enjoyed such a good meal since being taken, and the fish likely brought back memories of her old life.
もっともっと食え
Man, the way he says that is so goddamn creepy.
うめえぞ
Tongue kept his eyes on the lambs, smiling softly as they ate. Perhaps to the lambs, he was all gentle now, like some nice fella, quite different from before. But I knew. He just wanted to give the lambs a good last meal before they met their doom, so they wouldn't come back to haunt him. It's just his last bit of hypocrisy. And the food's gone. Those gross thoughts killed my appetite, so I put down my bowl and chopsticks early. As I went to leave, Tongue stopped me.
あ、りょう、もうおしまいか
Yeah, not feeling hungry. I'm gonna go upstairs to rest for a bit.
そうか、わかった。泊まるのは2階の東北の角にある2部屋だ。どちらか選んで休むがいい。
Tongue nodded and gestured upstairs. But as I moved to step away, he called out to me once more.
りょう、待て。まだ時間が早い。あまり早く寝るなよ。昨夜の話は終わってない。後で酒でも飲みながら続きを話そう。
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. And it's nighttime. As the sun dipped below the western horizon, dust settled over the land. In the distance, the evening drums echoed outside the inn. With the first watch signaling curfew, the inn began to close up. Shanzhou was a bustling city, strict with its curfew, unlike rural villages. At night, venturing outside meant risking punishment by the night guards. After dinner, the waiter tidied our table and locked up for the night. In my room, thoughts swirled in my mind. First about the lambs. The image of the sisters Hong-er and Kui-er sharing the bun, each insisting the other should have it, and Qianghua, looking like she was about to cry while eating the fish, stayed with me. Then there's Mansui. These days, learning shadow play with her, chatting in the bathhouse, grocery shopping together, memories flooded my mind. Reflecting on those moments, a certain realization solidified within me. I wouldn't say I'm head over heels for these lambs, but I just can't bear to send the lambs to such a gruesome end. Besides mulling over the lambs, I also dwelled on Tongue. 5 years back, while fleeing famine, I encountered him on the road. Ooh, yes, we're getting some Liang and Tongue lore. I know he said that they've been partners for 5 years, but I was curious as to how they met each other and how they began working with each other. Was ambushed by 3 men not far from the main road. Tongue was among them. Oh, he was attacked by Tongue. Tongue was probably a bandit then. They aimed to rob me of provisions and my father's sword. I resisted fiercely. The battle was perhaps the closest I've ever come to death's door. I dodged the first swing and struck back, taking down the first man. And then the second ambushed me, aiming his dagger at my side. I sidestepped, taking the hit in my thigh instead of my abdomen. With a growl, I fought through the pain and yanked the dagger from my leg, and I returned it to him with a forceful thrust into his belly. And Tongue was like, damn, I got no partners now, and this guy's pretty good. I beat 2 bandits, but got badly hurt in the process. Blood gushed from my wounds, making me dizzy, and I collapsed. I recall Tongue coming over. Just as I was about to fight him with my last bit of strength, he tossed his weapon and told me to lie down, saying he'd patch me up. I was puzzled by his actions. He smiled and said he had a change of heart, wanting to rescue me. Fed up with his old crew, he saw potential in me and invited me to join him instead. Together, we'd navigate the chaos of the world and make a living. That's when it hit me. Partners? Didn't matter to him one bit. He was cold to the core. Ah, yeah, he just threw his partners away, and it was like, yeah, moving on to the next one. What's gonna stop him from doing that to me? Didn't give a damn about his old crew. He just wanted more money and a cushier life. Who his partner was didn't concern him in the least. After that, he patched me up, and we became bandits, heading lightly guarded merchant caravans in the mountains, and sometimes robbing travelers on the road. He had great connections, always scoring good information on caravan size and routes. My role? The muscle. We hit unguarded caravans, or ones with just a few guards, take one out quick, and then we can rob them. Split the loot down the middle, adjusting for the extra effort. 5 years in, still not friends. Oh. Probably because we're both ice cold. Both wolves. Wolves hunt, eat, and survive together. But they never become friends. This is an interesting wolf pack. After about an incessus stick worth of time, Tongue led the lambs upstairs. I didn't catch sight of them, just heard some noise outside. They were taken to the room next door by Tongue, had a brief chat, then Tongue came back to my room.
おう、りょう、まだ寝てないのか。ずっと部屋にいるから、もう寝たのかと思ってた。
Not tired. All the lambs finished eating?
ああ、体は小さいのによく食うやつらだ。特にあの口なしは声も出さずに料理をすっかり平らげちまった。宿屋の川屋で用足しをさせて、あいつらを連れて戻ってきた。
I guess there's no bath in this inn. You locked the room next door now?
鍵はかけてない。でも逃げ出す心配はない。部屋にいろと言い聞かせて縄で縛ってあるからな。それにこの宿屋には門が一つしかない。
Window!
夜はずっと鍵がかかっている。縄をほどいても逃げられないさ。明日早起きすればいい。心配なら後であいつらの部屋に鍵をかけよう。
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Let's put a lock in the room soon. Tongue and I chatted half-heartedly about locking the door for a while. Then, silence fell between us.
りょう、昨日の晩のこと考えてみたか？
After a bit, Tongue broke the silence. He perched on the bed, his tone icy as he asked me.
この仕事を続ける気はあるか？
Oh.
はっきりしてくれ。
This is gonna be where we die. If we say no, he's gonna stab us.
何か言えよ。バカみたいに黙りこくって。ちゃんと話すと言ったじゃねえか。
I don't know, but I'm likely out. If I didn't know those lambs, their fate wouldn't be my concern. But after all this time, I can't send them to die like that. Tongue, you knew my principles from the start. This job is not what we signed up for. I'm done. Oh wow, he actually says he's done. There was no choice. Oh wow. I'm actually kind of shocked. I'm shocked that Liang is actually saying, no, this is against my morals. And my morals, I cannot do this job. I know that it's going to be dangerous if I don't continue, but it's against what I stand for. Because I got to know these people, and I don't want to know that I'm sending these people to their graves. Damn. I fixed him with a serious look, making my resolve clear.
昨日言ったはずだ。インさんの野郎が俺たちを騙したんだって。
Oh yeah, he did mention that. Yeah, I don't think Tongue knew, but I believe him when he says he didn't know about this job, because if he did, he would have taken much more precautions. He thought it was just deliver some children. Now knowing the stakes, he's like, oh god.
最初に子羊たちが祭人にされると言わなかった。俺が力から聞いてなかったら最後まで隠し通していただろう。畜生。でももう引き受けちまったし、編集所まで連れてきた。後戻りはできないぞ。やめるにしてもどうやってやめる？お前が明日ばっくれて俺が一人で子羊を楽用に届けるか？それともお上に引き渡すか？
Let them go. Take them to the government.
狂ってんのか？俺たちはお尋ね者なのにお上に顔を出すだと？こいつは金の問題じゃない。俺たちが辞めたら命に関わる問題になる。今回俺たちの雇い主は田舎の地主なんかじゃない。落葉城で一番の権力者なんだ。
Tongue
そ
yelled
い
at
つ
me.
の品物に
Whoops.
勝手なことしたらどんな殺され方をするか。
Tongue yelled at me, slamming his fist down on the nearby bed.
今この状況であいつらを逃がしても生きてはいけないぞ。
Like, I know that Tung is scum, but I feel like he's very, very right. It is rough because like I don't like Tung. He's too shady, but everything that he's doing is for his own self-interest, but it also makes complete sense. So I can't fault him for any of his actions for not being like for not being character, you know? And he's just basically his goal is I want to survive. I want to survive not just in this situation, but in this goddamn messed up world. And the best way I can do that is by using my silver tongue, and by basically using whatever resources I can. The people around me, using Liang, using Yin Sin. But now the situation's out of hand. He's like, I need to find a way to get out of this alive. And the only way is by basically leading these girls to their death. I have no other choice. I need you.
あちこちで飢え死にするやつ、強盗や殺人ばかり。兵士も平民に手をかける。帰る家のない子羊が生きていけるわけない。
Oh, okay. I thought he was going to talk more because there's a lot here.
どうせ死ぬやつなら、俺たちが金に変えて何が悪い。この乱世に生きるあいつらを俺たちが楽にしてやって何が悪い。
Hey, he's also saying messed up world. Tung frowned deeply, eyes glaring like a wolf's, locked onto me. I can't take that path. Can't bear them dying that way.
りょう、本当にやめるのか？
We're gonna have a fight. Damn. It's gonna be like we die if we don't dodge him, or we end up killing him. I think that's what's gonna happen. And then that's gonna be really hard for going on like from here on out.
じゃあ、俺が続けたら、子羊たちのために俺を殺すのか？てめえ！知り合って間もないガキどものために俺とやろってのか？
Damn, he shouted that. They're right next door. He raised his head, jabbing a finger at my nose, his voice sharp. His face twisted, chin jerking, eyes still fierce like a wolf's. I couldn't read his mind, but I got his message loud and clear. He was warning me, ready to play for keeps. I didn't say a word, just gave him a look. I wasn't backing down. If you're ready to fight, I'm ready to fight back. Tung kept his gaze fixed on me. We were like two wolves about to clash, eyes locked in a deadly stare down. Well, my muscles tightened, scanning the room's layout while debating whether to draw my blade. His jaw quivered, tears welling up in his eyes, yet his glare grew fiercer. It seemed like it was going to be a fight to the death. I was pretty sure I could handle him. If it came down to it, he's the one likely to bite the dust. We've been partners for years. I didn't want to harm him, let alone take him down. But if he was out for blood and wanted to take me down, I wouldn't hold back either. But those lambs, was it worth it? I was hesitating, surprised that I'd actually break my ties with him over them. No, it's not just about them. It's about me, too. I have my principles. He hit details before we started, going against them. I've got to stick to my principles. Man. Shit, man. I know that, like, Liang became a bandit to survive, and he's been so jaded by this world as well. And he's been killing a whole bunch of people, but never, like, it seems like he's never broken his principles. He's still, the people he's been killing, I mean, I don't think, killing people is good either way, but he's limited to just killing, like, people who have money. And he's mentioned that he never targeted women or children who were viewed as much weaker in this time period. And he's just stuck with his principles. He basically won't harm the defenseless. And he's still sticking to his principles despite potentially dying. So it just kind of increased my respect for Liang a lot. I can't just let it slide.
まあいい。
In the tense standoff, Tung's fierce gaze suddenly dissipates. He sighed, shrugged, and his tense muscles relaxed. What happened?
りょうよ。こんな話はしたくなかったんだが、お前の気が変わらないなら、殺し合いを避けるためにも仕方ない。
I don't know what he's gonna do. I feel like Tong is the type of person who would stab us in the back to survive. Huh? I eyed Tong cautiously.
一つ提案がある。お前のやり方に背かず、この任務も完了できる。だが、面倒だし、危険でもある。
I wonder if he's gonna be like, let us complete this job, and then I'm gonna take my money and leave. But you can follow up on whatever you want to do. If you want to kill the person, kill the person. If you want to protect the people after we delivered them, you can do that. That way we can both protect the kids, but also complete the job. I spit it out. I kept my eyes on him as he settled onto the bed.
明日、泉州で人飼いを探して、
fuck.
4匹の子羊を売っちまうんだ。
Oh shit, you know, that's actually technically a solution. Because they were going to basically traffic these humans. Why don't we just traffic these humans to better people? Not people that would kill them. We'd make a lot less money. We'd still make money, a lot less money. But at least they're in a household that's not guaranteed to kill them. And we can still get money, even if it's a lot less.
4匹の子羊を市場の相場で売ったら、あいつらが生きていける場所に売ることができる。
Tong is so crafty. Like, I don't like his character, like his personality, his character, but I like him as a character. He's very, very smart and he knows how to use his words and use his noggin. And I find that very interesting. Oh man, he's actually Tong is surprisingly a pretty well-written character.
そしたら、売った金の1割はお前、9割は俺がもらう。それから俺は落葉城で顔なじみのダチにあって9割の金で新しい子羊を4匹買う。
This is really weird because he's like, I can just get some people from Luoyang. If it was that easy, why didn't like the people do that in the first place? And also that's really like disappearances in your own city is a lot more suspicious.
大物が欲しいのは子羊なんだから、別に今の4匹でなくても新しいのを4匹届ければいい。どうだ？
Tong detailed his proposal to me. Forgot to admit, it was feasible. I didn't want to send off these 4 lambs already got attached. And if they ended up dead in Luoyang, it would have been on me. But selling them in Shanzhou and Tong getting fresh ones in Luoyang, it might just work. The swine demon wasn't specific about the sheep, might even take that Buddha back then. So what was the harm in swapping them out a bit? It's ironic in a way. Accepting Tong's proposal felt a bit strange. I refused to let those 4 lambs suffer to preserve my principles. Instead, there'd be 4 other lambs in Luoyang unknown to me, brought by Tong, meeting their ends with the swine demon. Call it my own wishful hypocrisy, but I was willing to do it. Alright, I'll take your offer. Let's do it that way. The change of plans is on me. After we sell the sheep tomorrow, I won't take a dime and I won't be involved anymore. Once you reach Luoyang, use all the money to get new lambs and close the deal.
子羊を渡して金を稼げたら、お前にちょっと分けよ
う。Sure thing. When we meet up in Luoyang, toss me a share. As we talked, the tension between me and Tong eased, and our expression softened.
よし、ならそれで決まりだ。方法を思いついたから、これで手打ちだ。りょう、さっきは凄まじい気迫だったな。まったく驚かされたぜ。
I'm so disgusted at Tong, but I'm also so impressed.
待ってろ、酒を持ってくる。2人で飲みながら心を落ち着けよう。
Tong and I finally came to an agreement. He's gone to get us some drinks. Huh? I exhaled deeply, my tense muscles finally relaxing. Sitting on the bed, I reflected on Tung's deadly stare just moments ago and my unwavering stance. It's hard to believe I went this far for those sheep, but it happened. Two wolves nearly at each other's throats over a disagreement. The issue was sorted out in an odd manner. We came to an understanding. 4 unknown lambs would be sacrificed in return for our 4 known ones. Man, I know what I know what Liang would do in all those trolley problem situations that you see online. It involves greater risk, but he would get a larger share of the money as compensation while I would maintain my principles. It's a good outcome, I suppose. Maybe even a favorable one. Tap tap. Tap tap tap. As I began to relax and let my mind wander, I heard a noise from the wall of the inn. In the next room, someone was knocking on the wall, the sounds of knocks echoing over here. It was the lambs tapping away, the knocks growing more urgent. Oh crap, was something happening? What's happening? I stepped out of the room and walked to the door of the next room, pulling it open. Inside, the 4 lambs were tied up, each pair on separate beds, and their waists were bound with rope secured to a wooden post in their room. What's up? Who was banging on the wall earlier?
りょう様、水姉さんが用事がありまして。
Xianghua gestured towards Shui, standing nearby. I wonder how much of that they've heard, because at one point, Tung was shouting. He was yelling, but it made sense because he's basically yelling for survival. He was trying to find a way to convince Liang. But I'm pretty sure there was no soundproofing in this time and age. What's up?
りょう様、話したいことがあります。
Mansui looked at me with a serious expression, seeming a bit nervous. Go ahead.
ここでは言いにくい。場所を変えましょう。
I freed Mansui from the ropes, then took her downstairs for a walk around. Eventually, I decided to talk to her in the bathhouse downstairs. I quickly instructed the other lambs. If Tung showed up with drinks looking for me, tell him that we're at the outhouse. We'll be back soon. Same CG, because the same type of inn, yeah, sure. The inn was just like the last one, and even the bathhouse had a familiar layout. To avoid running into Tung on the way, I quickened my pace with Mansui. We arrived at the bathhouse, where she closed the wooden doors behind her and began speaking to me. Tell me, why'd you sneak me over here? What's up?
りょう様、大変よ。
What is it?
コウ様がりょう様を殺すつもりです。
Oh, I'm not surprised. I was taken aback. I never expected her to bring this up with me. What makes you say that?
さっき経過から聞きました。コウ様は私たちが買い物に出かけてる間、みんなを閉じ込めて1時間して戻ってきたって。
Xianghua just told me that Master Xing locked them in the room and while we were out shopping and didn't come back for an hour. Huh. Why is that suspicious? That means he probably went out to do his own shopping to keep it a secret from Liang.
間違いなくおかしい。用心深いコウ様ならみんなが逃げないようにずっと見張ってるはず。でもさっきはそうしなかった。
Damn, Matsui's so smart.
1時間なんて明らかに用足しとか何か取りに行く時間じゃないです。きっと宿屋を出てどこかで誰かと何か話をしに行った。
Once again, I'm not surprised at all. What's the big deal? Maybe he just went to see a friend. He's got plenty in Shanzhou.
そんな単純なこととは思えません。友達に会うならどうして前みたいに亮様に言わなかったの？さっきコウ様と亮様は隣で言い争ってたじゃないですか。よく聞こえなかったけど、コウ様が最後に扉を開けてお酒を取ってくると言ってました。亮様、そのお酒を飲んじゃダメ。きっと毒が入ってるから。
It's poison.
コウ様のことをむやみに信じないで。きっと。
Before Mansui could finish her words, the bathhouse door was kicked open.
何の話かな?
The newcomer barged into the bathhouse, his eyes flashing with anger as he looked at Mansui. Tongue. I stared at Tongue in disbelief, never expecting him to barge in like that. Mansui was also taken aback by Tongue's sudden intrusion. He got back way too quick. She widened her eyes, looking terrified, but didn't speak.
やれやれ。 思ってもみなかったぜ。
Sneaky little
こ
brat.
の口なしが話せるとは。しかも俺の悪口を。こいつは怪しいと思ってたんだ。一度夢の中でこいつの声がかすかに聞こえた。夜にお前とそいつがいなくなることが何度もあった。よう、このガキとはいつから密談してた。こいつがお前を騙したのか、それとも最初から組んでたのか。
Tongue's face twisted, body shaking, either from surprise or fury.
リョウ様を騙してるのは私じゃなくてコウ様
Oh,
よ。
here's the
コウ
choice.
様はずっとリョウ様を騙してた。リョウ様が食べ終わって2階に上がったら、コウ様が荷物を漁って取り出したのは睡眠薬ですよ。
Mansui pointed at Tongue with a look of horror.
てめえ、何ほざいてやがる。ぶっ殺すぞ。
Tongue, furious, lunged at Mansui. He grabbed her swiftly before she could dodge. Mansui, off balance, tumbled into the ground as he grabbed her. Whoa! Oh, grab. Yeah, that's not good. Tongue pounced, pinning her beneath him.
逃がすか。このまま息の根を止めてやる。
Tongue straddled Mansui, veins bulging, his hands gripped around her neck like a hungry wolf pouncing a lamb. His arms tense, fingertips digging into her throat, as if he aimed to choke the life out of her.
リョウ様、助けて。
Mansui sobbed, tears blurring her vision, pleading for my help. It was chaos. Total chaos. My mind was in a mess. In that moment, I couldn't tell what was real and what was fake. Was Mansui lying? Was Tongue not really planning to harm me? No secret meetings, no drug drinks? Possible. The last is good at deceiving. The mute act, the age, it could all be fake. But why warn me now? Her expressions and eyes didn't seem like she was lying this time. Was Tongue lying? He'd always been selfish, only interested in his gain, but he accepted my proposal this time. It was strange, not like him to risk more just to stick to principles. Yet his plan made sense. Though higher risk, it was a win-win for us. Would he really betray me after proposing such a plan? The look he gave me just then, it didn't seem like deceit. 1,000 thoughts swirled in my head, and then I recalled Mansui's words from earlier. You can make your own choices. Well, I can make my own choice now, but who should I trust? How to choose? Okay, yeah. So this is the true choice. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to trust Mansui, so I'm gonna try to get the bad end and see what happens if I trust Tongue. There's one easy way to get this trusting, but not in this position. We can't do it while protecting Mansui, because like one way we can prove whether or not well, Tongue was gonna poison us is if he just drinks his own drink. If it's not poison, then we don't have to worry about it, and Mansui was quote-unquote tricking us. Mansui was pinned down by Tongue, neck gripped tight. She kicked her legs frantically, trying to break free from Tongue's grasp. But of course, her feeble attempts couldn't loose Tongue's hold at all. Her face flushed red, tears welling up in her eyes. I saw her gaze end up falling upon me. In her eyes, I saw fear, defiance, anger, but mostly a plea for help. She was hoping I could save her. But I didn't save her. I stood by the side and watched everything go down as if it was none of my business. I didn't believe in Mansui. I trust my partner Tongue, who I've been with for 5 years, more than her. Oh, the light is gone from her eyes now. Mansui's kick became weaker and weaker. Her eyes gradually filled with despair as she looked into mine, and then the light in them dimmed like a candle flickering out. And finally, she went completely still. Tongue got up from her body, gasping for air. Mansui was collapsed on the ground, with her eyes closed, visible handprints on her neck. Did you choke her to death?
どれどれ。死んでね。呼吸が弱い。心臓は動いてる。気絶したんだろ。
Merchandise still good. Tongue placed his hand under her nose before lowering himself to listen to her heartbeat.
締め殺すつもりだったが、死ななくてもいい。後でちゃんと始末してやる。この小娘め。口が聞けないふりをして俺たちを仲間割れさせようとした末恐ろしいやつだ。この小娘。
Tong looked at the passed out Mansui and cursed.
りょう、一体どういうことだ。前から口が聞けることを知ってたのか。
Then he turned his gaze towards me, as if he wanted to hear my explanation. Yeah, I knew she wasn't a mute. The night we left Hanzhou, when I took this brat to relieve herself, she tried to stab me with a dagger. That was when I learned that she wasn't a mute.
なぜその時教えてくれなかった。
You have a temper. I was afraid that you might kill her on the spot and mess up our plan.
お前は何を見てたんだ。俺はあんなに怒っても手加減してやった。こいつを絞め殺さなかったぞ。
I am genuinely surprised that he didn't kill her, but when I think about it, if he killed her, he would have lost merchandise, and he also would have the plan with Liang would have fell through because they wouldn't be able to. Wasn't able to protect them. You know, his entire plan was I don't want these girls to die, and if she died, it would have ruined the plan. So having her on the verge of death but not dying worked out in Tong's favor.
ただ、これからはこいつをよく見てないとダメだ。こいつはずっと縄で繋いでおく。余計なことをしないようにな。それからボコボコにしてやる。後がつかないようにな。どうせ大蛇にもバレないさ。
Python would have been like, I wanted to do that myself. Didn't we agree not to send these lambs to Python? Oh, that means he was. That confirms it. I mean, I very much like had no doubt that he was going to kill us, but that confirms it. He had no intentions of selling them to other people. He was going to continue with the plan.
おっと、そうだ。届けない。このガキを大蛇に届けはしないが、まだ怒りは収まらない。ボコボコにして、すっきりしねえとな。
I watched Tung grit his teeth and curse angrily without saying another word. Tung noticed my silence, and he also went quiet, seemingly lost in thoughts. Then I'll carry her back in a bit.
ああ。でも子羊の部屋に運ぶなよ。他の子羊が驚くと困る。俺たちの部屋に運ぶんだ。それから、りょう、後で飲みに行かないか？
Alright, poison you later. I'll pass.
どうして？あいつが言った通り、俺が薬を仕込むと思ってるのか？
No, I didn't believe her. If I did, I wouldn't have watched you choke her like that.
わかった。でも、酒は飲まんとな。俺とお前で一口ずつだ。
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
疑いも晴れるだろ？
I do think that, man, I feel like this event solidified Tung's trust in Liang because Liang literally was like, no, yeah, I don't believe her. Okay. After that, I moved Mansui to our room, then drank some wine with Tung after tying her up. After finishing the wine, the sky was completely dark, since it was almost midnight. Tung was tired, so he laid down and slept on the bed. After seeing him fall asleep, I also intended to sleep. However, there were many things troubling me. When I closed my eyes, memories kept playing back. The recent events kept playing themselves before my eyes. Among those reoccurring memories, Mansui appeared the most. That little brat was too precocious and full of lies. Even though she taught me shadow play and used her wit to help us avoid the official soldiers, I still couldn't like and trust her, which led to my indifference when she was choked today. But wait, Tung didn't actually choke her to death, did he? No good. She hasn't moved since she passed out from being choked. Oh shit. She might actually be dead and Tung lied about that. Based on my previous experiences, if she had been choked unconscious, she should have woken up soon, but she hadn't made a sound. Could it be that Tung lied to me and that she was already dead? With that thought, I couldn't help but quickly get up and approach Mansui. I cautiously placed my hand over her nose, checking for any signs of breath. Oh fuck. Liang's gonna get shanked now. My fingers detected her breathing, faint yet discernible, rising and falling rhythmically. Okay, so long as she wasn't dead. I felt a lot more at ease after confirming that Mansui wasn't dead and was able to sleep soundly. Or could he? I closed my eyes and slept for a while, trying to keep my mind off things. Gradually, I fell asleep. After about an hour or two, I vaguely heard Tung getting up. He got out of bed, pushed the door open, then tiptoed out the room. He was being really careful as if he was afraid of waking me up. Was Tung going out to pee? After a while, Tung didn't come back. I watched as the sky outside slowly brightened, and the darkness inside the room gave way to light. I heard Shanzou's morning bell ring, followed by the distance and nearby rooster crows. The curfew was over and a new day had begun. Was he gonna be like alert the authorities to be like, this guy was trafficking kids, get him? Tung still hadn't come back. How come we went to pee for this long? That's strange. I couldn't sleep. A feeling of unease washed over me. I perked up my ears and tried hard to listen to the sounds outside the room. There did seem to be some noise. Faintly, I seemed to hear the sound of a latch falling, along with scattered footsteps and hushed conversations. Was that the waiter or someone else? I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be officials. What are they talking about? Not good. Better check it out. I thought about it a bit. Even though I didn't get enough sleep yet, the feeling of unease still pushed me out the door. I pushed the room open and got into the hall. The narrow hallway was completely empty. All the other guests were still asleep. I didn't see Tung or anyone else. I walked down the stairs to the inn's lobby. The lobby was empty, and the tables and chairs were stacked up placed in the corner. The door latch was still hanging from the door. The inn had not opened for the day. Still no Tung or anyone else. Where do you go? Do you go out? Well, I'll go check out the outhouse and the bathhouse next, I guess. I glanced around both sides of the ground, intending to check out the bathhouse and search for Tung. I walked into the bathhouse. Not long ago, Tung choked Mansui here and knocked her out as I watched from the sidelines. And now Mansui wasn't here, nor was Tung. There seems to be something in that wooden bathtub over there. Oh fuck. There was a dark shadow around the edge of the wood tub. It didn't look like it was empty. Is it gonna be Tung? What was that? I leaned in closer and looked into the inside of the wooden tub. What was that? There was a guy hiding inside the wooden tub. He was a skinny guy, long hair, small eyes, hunched over like a rat. When I looked at him, his gaze suddenly turned sinister, and he abruptly stood up, pulled out a dagger that he had kept hidden all along, and lunged at me. My heart instantly jumped to my throat. I had no idea who the sudden intruder was. My reaction were no less swift, and his blade came towards me. I quickly dodged. Oh, that's the plan. Tung was gonna hide here. I knew that Liang was gonna try to go look for him, so he hid here for the longest time. And until Liang came in to look for him, he was gonna do a surprise attack. This guy knew his way around a dagger. Actually, no. He described his face a lot. Maybe he hired a person to kill us, an assassin. Skinny guy, long hair, small eyes. The second and third ones came quickly towards the direction I was dodging. With no other option, I reached out and grabbed his thrusting arm, trying to get control of him. At that moment, a series of heavy footsteps suddenly echoed behind me. The fall foots were heavy, as if some beast was running on the ground. I want to turn around and look, but the intruder already made it to my back. He was already swinging a blunt object, aiming straight for my head. An iron rod smashed into the back of my head. A sudden urge of intense pain shot through my skull, followed by a persistent tingling sense. Hot blood gushed from my head, causing my vision to darken instantly. I couldn't make out anything around me. Damn it. I lost control of my body. My legs went weak and my head spun as I toppled to the ground. Oh, yeah. I don't recognize these two people at all. He hired some people to basically kill us. As I fell, I finally caught the sight of the assailant out of the corner of my eye. Is he gonna come in? It was a fat guy, 9 feet tall. 9 feet tall? Built like a mountain, with thick arms and a fist clenched around an iron rod.
やっと倒れたか、しぶといやつめ。
河野旦那の筋書き通りだ。こいつが宿屋であんたを訪ねると言ったら、その通りになった。
Yeah.
ああ、長いこと一緒にやってきたからな。よくわかってる。
Suddenly, I heard a voice. Another individual approached from afar. I couldn't move my head anymore. Oh, I can finally get a clear look at these guys. Yeah, but I already knew who that was based on the voice and what the skinny guy called him. It was Tongue. Why? Why did Tongue want me dead? Who are the fat and skinny guys? Did he hire them?
りょう、悪く思わないでくれ。
I got some new muscle. I don't need you anymore.
言ったはずだ。知るべきでないことは知らない方がいい。聞こうとすれば戻ることはできないんだぞ。この仕事から足を洗うのは難しい。やるべきことなんだ。いい加減にやってはいけない。雇い主は不測の事態に備えて数人から買っている。なるべく遠くのやつからな。
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking. He has to get people from where they came from. They were literally over a month away. Why would he order all these people when he could just order people in his local city? Yeah, yeah.
特に泉州の子羊を欲しがっている。落葉の子羊じゃない。落葉の子羊を泉州の子羊と交換するなんて、そんなことができるのか？
I didn't think it completely through, but I'm glad I mentioned that.
人買いの世界は狭い。雇い主を騙すなんて俺にはできない。お前を説得しても無駄だ。お前は頑固だからな。
Tom crouched down and whispered into my ear. I widened my eyes. I couldn't turn my head. I kept staring at him. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't move my mouth.
すまんな、りょう。お前を騙して殺さなければならないこと。
Okay, that was your own fault. You attacked me.
やむを得ないことだ。仕方ない。あの世へ行っても俺を恨むんじゃないぞ。
Tongue lowered his voice and slowly whispered into my ear. He then grabbed the dagger from the skinny guy's hand. Finally, out of the corner of my eye, I saw that dagger come lunging towards me. The dagger pierced my neck from the side. Blood ran down the edge of the blade, and a warm stream flowed down from the side of my neck. I couldn't speak. I felt like I was drowning, struggling to breathe. I wanted to cough, my throat was blocked entirely. I wanted to use my finger to scratch my itchy neck, but I couldn't breathe or raise my hand. The warmth and strength in my body were drained away. I felt like I was in an ice cave, gradually cooling down, and my vision began to darken. I knew I was going to die soon. Tongue, I never thought you'd lie to me and kill me. Sure enough, you were a wolf to begin with, and in the end, you were still a wolf. Wolves don't have partners. Wolves will kill other wolves for their own survival. Based on what he said, he'll continue to send the lambs to Loyan after killing me. The people accompanying him will likely be the fat and skinny guy. Those two might be his friends or the killers he hired. He'll complete the original job. Chonghua, Kui-er, Hong-er will all die in despair and pain. What about Mansui? Does she still have a chance? Will she be able to find the opportunity to kill the swine demon and avenge her sister? I won't know the answer to any of these, because I'm gonna die. It's all out of my hands. I refuse to accept such an ending. Ending, killed by the wolf. In mutual destruction, in chaotic times, trust is a luxury neither found nor something. Oh man, that was a really long extra ending at the end. But we're gonna choose the choice where we don't frickin' die. I trust Mansui. Kick him. Oh, chapter 10, cooking meat. Interesting. Now we look at the flowchart and we get wolf kill. Oh. Okay, so I guess the structure at the moment is that Mansui chapters on the bottom, bad ends are on the top. They even have them red. And I mean, it seems to check out, I think. Oh, Ling has at least 15 chapters. And then here, actually, I'm like really confused about these sections. I think the reason why it's like this is because they're not going to be like a path leading up to here. They're just going to be different endings. Because here, it's like achieve 2 endings except died halfway. Here, we have to reach Chapter 12 with high affinity, medium affinity, and low affinity. So we're gonna get different results based on that. That's gonna be interesting. But in order to get everything, I'm gonna have to like really play the game several times. It's gonna be kind of annoying. So we're currently 40% done. I'd honestly normally I'd stop here, but I'm a little bit too invested. I want to see what happens. I'm gonna continue until this conflict is over. Wants to be pinned down by tongue, neck gripped tight. Actually, is there any bad end here? No, it's just all right. She fought, tears welling, looking up at me. You can make your own choices. Her words echoed in my mind at that moment. The words revive a phantom in my mind. Oh wow, this guy looks pretty cool. The figure of the phantom resembled me. He stood with his back to me, wearing a bamboo hat, straw coat, and a long sword. A gust of wind stirred his attire, yet he remained steadfast. The next moment he turned, his gaze sharp but noble. Not a wolf's, but a hero's gaze. I gritted my teeth, burst up, charging at Tongue. A loud impact reverberated. I knocked Tongue off Mansui. He hit the ground but swiftly rose again. Dude, you were gonna kill me. Tongue rose, eyes brimming with rage and murder. You probably didn't expect I'd knock him off for some lying brat. He roared, brandishing a dagger from his waist. With a gleaming blade in his hand, he sprinted at me. I scoffed, staying vigilant. Bending slightly, steadying myself, eyes fixed on the approaching dagger. Whoosh! Focus, I dodged Tongue's first strike. Thud. No second strike. No second strike. I grabbed his elbow. Swift spin. I was behind him. Oh shit, that's a really fucking cool CG. Oh, that's really cool. My right hand seized his dagger hand. My left arm locked around his neck. I used half my strength to restrain him, and half to push his own dagger towards his neck. He eyed the blade creeping towards his neck. My grip against his against the blade. A struggle. He resisted, slightly weaker. I pushed, slightly stronger. The tiny strength gap made the blade inch closer. I edged the dagger closer, inch by inch, towards his neck. He looked wide-eyed at me. I held his gaze. Sweat dripped from his brow, muscles straining as he fought to break free from my hold. Like a python, I tightened my grip, preventing his escape. Oh, plunge. Finally, I guided his hand, driving his own dagger into his neck. The blade pierced his skin, then throat. Blood flowed down the blade. His eyes widened, flicking between blade and me. Anger and disbelief flashed in his gaze, questioning my resolve. But beneath a plea for mercy, a fear of death slowly begged from his eyes. Years of bloody experience taught me not to spare any enemy who once fought me. Plus, I knew him too well. If I let him live now, he might not hesitate to kill me later. Okay, he did it. These thoughts drove me to push the blade deeper into his neck. I clenched my teeth, a grunt muffled in my nose, pushing him with all my might, driving the dagger deeper until half the blade disappeared into his neck. His muscles tense, trembling, he turned to glare. His eyes flooded with anger, defiant sorrow, fear, and plea. Tears flowed, his whole body strained for air. I held him firm, one hand tight, the other letting blood flow. I twisted the dagger in his hand, like turning a key halfway, increasing the blood flow. Our gazes stayed locked together throughout. Mine held something much purer. Only icy intent to kill filled my gaze. Drip, drip. Blood dripped to the ground, blooming into crimson flowers. He fought in my hold, weakening, face draining of color. Blood ebbed, legs faltered, and then with a final breath after a silent struggle, he went limp. Releasing his arms, he collapsed like a marionette with cut strings, hitting the ground with a thud. I stayed silent, gazing down at him amidst the blood. On his back, eyes unblinking, skin drained of color. Kneeling, I checked his nostrils. Dead.
竜様、 死んだのですか?
Yeah, no shit. Yes, I killed him.
どうして両様はためらいもなく殺したのですか?
Monsui trembled and shakily asked me, uncomprehending. She wanted my help, but she didn't expect me to kill my companion so decisively for her sake. About 2 years ago, we robbed a caravan but spared the coachman to drive for us. He pretended to comply, but secretly led us astray, aiming to deliver us to the barracks. When the truth came out, he panicked. Tung promised him money to keep him quiet first. But once we reached familiar roads, he not only killed the coachman, but also hunted down his 80-year-old mother and took her life too. He'll always settle a score. Once he's drawn his knife, he'll have a bone to pick with me, too. He'd kept that grudge until he got the chance to finish me off. Better to end him today than to wait for him to off me someday. I turned to Monsui slowly, my gaze fixed on Tung's corpse.
両様はなぜ私を信じるのですか?
Just a gut feeling. It's more about not trusting him than trusting you. I didn't buy Tung's proposal. Oh, she's gonna be like, proposal? Didn't tell you before, but I thought this job about selling you off as maids or servants. I thought this job was about selling you off as maids or servants, so I took it with a clear conscience. But guess what? Found out yesterday that you were being sent to as lamb dishes, and damn, Loyan City's got a swine demon eyeing you all for dinner. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I couldn't go through with this job, so I told him I wanted out. At first he wasn't keen, but after dinner he changed his mind and made a proposal that satisfied me. He suggested that we all sell you tomorrow, and I quit this job in Shanzhou. Then once he's in Luoyang, he'd buy a few lambs himself to deliver, and if he made extra, he'd give me a cut. Something about it didn't sit right with me, and him being so agreeable this time was unusual. I calmly filled Monsui in on everything, including Tung's offer. Oddly enough, sharing it with her made me feel lighter.
両様の考えは正しいと思います。
But I wanted to go there. Did you not hear my entire purpose was to get revenge of the swine demon? Why would you rob me of that chance?
よく考えたら、落葉城の子供を飼えばいいのに、どうしてわざわざ遠くから私たちを運ぶのですか? 東洋にはきっと他に理由があって、戦地の子供が欲しいんだと思います。足がつかないように、遠くの子供を複雑な方法で飼うのでしょう。
Impressive. Just by listening to me, you sorted out what I couldn't. You've got a sharp mind. I praised her. Indeed, her explanation helped me understand. Come to think of it, her sister got snatched by that swine demon too. He lied about marrying her and took her away. How old was her sister? Probably a few years older than her, right?
両様、これから私たちはどうすればいいのでしょうか?
Yeah, I'm very curious about this because our goal was to bring them to Luoyang. But clearly, I mean, Monsui still wants that so she can kill that person. But I don't really understand at the moment because I feel like she's lying about having a sister. She's definitely being truthful about swine demon stuff because I think she does believe in that. But at the moment, Liang doesn't want to bring the kids there. He's already kind of got attached to them, and he doesn't want to give them a life where they're going to be, well, he doesn't want to give them a death. So what does he do? Does he just try to escape with these girls and try to live, I don't know, make a house off in some place that no one is? Like, what do you do? He's a bandit. He can't really do anything respectable. As I thought about Monsui's sister, she suddenly asked me another question. She got me stuck for a moment. I mean, at the very least, we can probably loot Tung's body. He had the money. And yeah, but I don't know what we do from now on. This happened too suddenly. At first, I just didn't want to see them become lamb dishes. Then I didn't fully believe Tung's proposal. But I hadn't even thought about what to do with them after Tung was gone. When she asked, all I could think of was to go along with Tung's fake proposal earlier. Tomorrow, I'll ask the waiter, find some Shanzhou human traffickers, and sell you off for money.
ダメ。両様、そんなの絶対ダメです。
She seems really upset. Why not? I killed the partner I've worked with for 5 years just to save your lives. Now I figured out how to deal with the body and make a run for it. Now I have to figure out how to deal with the body and make a run for it. You got me into a mess, but I'm not trying to get you killed. Can I at least sell you for some money? I shot her a glare. Meanwhile, I couldn't shake off the feeling that this lass was pushing her luck after I killed Tongue for them. Monsui saw my unhappy face and started to act more friendly.
リョウ様、怒らないでください。
I feel like Monsui's gonna come up with a plan. She's very intelligent.
先週城で私たちを売るのがダメだって言っているのではありません。リョウ様の考えは白に欠けているというだけ。
Oh.
リョウ様はコウ様と違って人飼いとは面識がありません。経過も言ってました。コウ様は私たちがいないとき外で誰かと会ってたみたいだって。明日人飼いに会ってコウ様の姿が見えなかったら、
Oh, that means they have to leave
そいつらは
now.
全てを察するかもしれません。
It's already night.
そしたら私たちがトンヨンのところに送られるだけじゃなくて、あなたもトンヨンに報復されるかもしれない。リョウ様は今暗がりにいて、彼らは明るいところにいます。自分からのこのこと出ていくべきではありません。
She laid it out straight. Have to say, her analysis isn't wrong. I'm not that tight with the locals like Tongue. Selling them off without him? Locals might get too nosy. Too risky. Their lives, mine, all on the line. What's your take on this? I looked at her, seeking advice. Her clear thinking earned my trust, got me wondering about her thoughts. She scratched her chin, pacing by Tongue's body, lost in thought. She kind of reminds me of, I don't know, maybe it's because it's a female character, a younger female character in this time period in China. Kind of reminds me of Mao Mao. She's very, very smart, and she's able to think quickly on her feet. She's not physically athletic, but she's very capable. Got something?
はい、いい考えがあります。
Like, her personality is definitely different because Mao Mao is very eccentric when it comes to certain things, but also very, like, whatchamacallit, deadpan when it comes to others. But Monsui's, her personality's been very consistent. She's trying to survive, and she's trying to achieve her goal. She slowly developed a relationship with Liang, and she trusts him enough to basically reveal all these things to stop him from dying at the hand of Tongue. Also teaching him stuff, you know. I feel like I've grown to like the relationship between Monsui and Liang. It's very, very interesting. Spill it.
まず、コウ様の死体をうまく片付けて、誰にも見つからないようにすることです。それから、リョウ様が人飼いになって、私たちをそれぞれにふさわしい場所に送る。
Act as a human trafficker and take us to our respective places. What does that mean? Can you explain more? I mean, either way, the people waiting for Tongue are still going to be suspicious, right?
私たち4人は家庭も違うし、素性も違う。
Oh, is she telling us to bring the
行く場
kids
所だ
back
ってもち
to
ろん違う。
their family?
コウジとスイジの姉妹は家が貧しいから
Yeah.
返してやる必要はないと思います。リョウ様の裕福な親戚や友達に売れば彼女たちは楽に暮らせるしお金も儲かる。
Oh. Huh. Do we have well-off relatives or friends? If we did, wouldn't we be with them instead of being bandits? Actually, no, we became bandits because of Tongue. We were originally traders, and they attacked, or I said we, but Liang was originally a trader, and his caravan got attacked. And ever since, he just kind of continued with it because Tongue, quote-unquote, spared, I want to say spared him, but it's more like they had a mutually beneficial relationship at that point.
経過はさらわれたんだから、リョウ様が家族を探してお金を要求すればいいと思います。
That is true.
お金を用意できるなら経過を返してやる。用意できないなら誰かに経過を売る。例えば、
Oh, whoops.
リョウ様の裕福な親戚や友達とか。
Wait, what do you mean by rich friends? Your plan has a big problem. I don't have rich relatives or friends nearby. Actually, I don't have anyone I can ask for help. I laid out my words and Monsui looked a bit surprised. She might have been surprised that at twice her age, I still had the social connections of an orphan. My dad had a small business, no rich friends. My parents eloped, tied the knot solo, cut clan ties, so no family to reach out to.
りょう様、かわいそう。
Aw, poor you. No need for your pity. Matsui gave me a pitying look, and I shot back. Thinking about it now, I really don't have many friends. My connections have always been weak, but in this big world, was there anyone willing to lend me a hand? I pondered for a moment and suddenly thought of someone. Oh, he has someone? I guess it's someone that we don't know because literally we haven't seen Liang interact with anyone else. Alright, I thought of someone.
誰？
Back in the famine, there was someone I met. I think she worked at Haizhou. She should have the means to support you all. Oh, it's a girl. It's a woman. She's got quite the network and can reach out to some people. My relationship with her isn't great, but I did save her life once. Might be worth a shot to ask. I said to Mansui, recalling the person's face.
じゃあ、ハイシュへ、その友達に会いに行きましょう。よかった。
Mansui relaxed when I mentioned my choice, showing genuine relief. Despite the brat's knack for fibbing, this happiness seemed real. She cared about those lambs. However, you sorted out everything for them. What about you? I asked her, puzzled about what she had in mind for herself. She talked a bunch, but didn't bring her up herself. Swine demon killing, let's go! She looked down, thinking for a bit. Then she looked up, locking eyes with me. Could she be thinking about why I asked, or maybe thinking about her own plans? Soon, she spoke her mind to me.
私、よく考えたけど、やっぱり、落葉城に行きます。復讐を果たさなければなりません。
So you want me to take you to the swine demon?
うん。連れて行くだけでいいから、お願いします。
No.
りょう様、まずは私の話を
Allow
聞い
me
て
to
ください。
explain.
りょう様はコウ様を殺した。他の子たちも逃がしたら、このことはすぐにバレると思います。バレないようにするために、私を東洋のところまで連れてって、コウ様が他の子を連れて逃げて、私だけ残ったっていうのはどうですか？そうすれば、りょう様は子供を逃がした責任をコウ様に被せることができます。
Yeah, it's all the dead guy's
どう
fault.
せコウ様はこの世にいない。死人に口なしです。
Yeah, he's gone. He can't argue back.
もらえるお金は減りますけど、りょう様のせいにはならないし、仕事も片付いて、敵も一人減る。
You're too naive if you think that'll work. I don't know how tight tongue is with those human traffickers, but this story won't stick. They'll trust a dead tongue over a live me. Now that tongue's out, there's no turning back. I plan to escape down south, as far from the north as possible. You're thinking I'm gonna risk going to Luoyang just to end up dead? That's foolish and pointless.
違う。りょう様のためではありません。私は復讐を、お姉ちゃんが死んでから、ずっと夢に出てきて、眠れないんです。
She's not looking at him in the eyes.
復讐しなくちゃいけないの。
I stared at her, and she looked back at me with a look of determined expression. She looked back at me with a determined expression, yeah. Tears welled up in her eyes, and it seemed as if she was looking through me, focused on something beyond. It was obvious her need for revenge was strong. Fine. If you insist on going on to your doom, I won't stop you. I'll take you to Luoyang, sell you off, and then make a run for the south as soon as possible. I said with a helpless sigh, looking at... Man, he really got close to her. It's like, fine, I'll do everything you say. Looking over at her.
りょう様、ありがとうございます。
She nodded, all smiles. I just didn't get it. What was there to be so happy about? It's like she's completely detached, like she's not the one being sold, the one facing death. Alright, we're done talking. Let's get started with the first thing. Now we gotta figure out what to do with Tongue's body.
でも、どうやって片付けるつもりですか？今は夜間外出禁止で、明日は店の小僧が宿屋を掃除する。それまでに死体を片付けないと。ここは普通の店じゃありません。人飼いが利用している店です。
That is very, very true.
コウ様が店で死んだことを小僧が知ったら、きっと千秋城の人飼いに知らせるでしょう。私たちの計画も実行しにくくなります。
Mansui looked at the body, lost in thought. Well, I'm aware of all that. Out in the boonies, it's simple. Find a spot away from the road and bury it. But in the city, I'm stumped.
竜様、場外に埋めたら
No way.
どうしてダメなのですか
Body's too big, too bloody. Can't carry it out without raising suspicion. Imagine wrapping it in a cloth and putting it on a horse. Someone's bound to notice. I slowly told Mansui. Well, imagine this. The guards at the gate asking questions, people smelling blood, seeing a pack horse carrying what looks like a human-shaped bloody bundle. It's a recipe for disaster.
そうですね
Mansui thought hard. What to do now? Should we bury the body in the inn's yard? Or bribing the waiter to help? Not too risky. We can't depend on just the waiter.
竜様、いい方法がある
Just as I was thinking, Mansui seemed to come up with something. What idea?
適当に思いついたんですけど案外いい方法かも竜様
Mansui,
には
oops.
できないかもしれないけど
Mansui sighed deeply and looked at me seriously. What's there I wouldn't do? I chuckled, feeling like she underestimated me. Eat the body? Thud. Thud. The cleaver came down again and again, slicing through the meat and bone laid out on the stone floor. The first chop separated the skin and flesh, exposing the muscle and gleaming white bone below. Oh my god, we're gonna mutilate his body so bad that they can't tell its tongue. The second chop cleanly snapped the bone, and the sound echoing sharply in the room. For the third chop, a piece of meat, still clinging to the bone and sinew, was neatly divided into two. I picked up the piece of meat, about the size of my hand, and tossed it into the first wooden basin. There were two basins in front of me, one for meat and one for bones, the other for everything else. The last, barefooted, carried a water basin, cleaning up the bloodstains around me. The smell of blood in the bathhouse was strong, making my head spin and my stomach churn. Even though I was used to blood, I felt queasy at the moment. The lass's proposal really caught me off guard. For the time of half an incense stick, I didn't dare to do it. Now we've been busy for nearly 2 hours. About 2 hours ago, she came up with the idea for handling the body. The body of Tongue needs to be taken outside the city and can't be buried near the inn. We need to make the body look less conspicuous and get rid of the strong smell of blood. They literally drained the body. All the blood's out. All we have left are the bones, which don't smell. She said that we should treat the body like we do pork. We can cut the body of Tongue into small pieces. Like the meaty parts, the pork, are cooked and tied up into bags and then taken out of the city on the horse. As for the non-meat parts, I gathered them in the wooden tub, crushed them up, mixed them together, and dumped them into the inn cesspool. The stinky cesspool should mask the bloody smell. The small parts would also be well hidden within it. Even if people in the inn get suspicious, it'd be difficult for them to check. I'm almost done chopping up the meat. Is the hot water ready?
さっき薪をくべたので多分沸いているはずです見てきます
Alright, you fetch the water then. Be careful not to trip and scald yourself if you fall.
わかりました気をつけます
Mansui nodded obediently and went to fetch the hot water. The water had been heating for a while, and I told her to keep it going until it was bubbling. We planned to use it for boiling the meat. Initially, we thought of using the inn's kitchen, but it was locked up tightly at night and by the waiter. Plus, the kitchen pot wasn't big enough for all the meat, and cooking in batches would take too long. Besides, it was near where the waiter was sleeping, and we didn't want to wake him up. I feel like all this butchering would have woken the waiter up. Then Mansui came up with the idea. She suggested blocking the bathhouse water pool temporarily, filling it with hot water, and then using that to cook the meat. Mansui cautiously carried a basin of hot water, walking barefoot towards the bathhouse. Then with a splash, she poured the hot water into the pool. The bubbling water spread evenly across the surface, causing the level to rise slightly. Steam rose from the soup, distorting the air around it. Oh man, we're having tongue soup. Thankfully, this was meant for cooking meat. If it were for bathing, even a moment would likely peel your skin off. Mansui paced back and forth a few times, until the water level in the pool had finally reached a usable level. She wiped her forehead and sat down to rest. Seeing she was tired, I didn't push her. I sat beside the tank, tossing the meat in, and asked, "How'd you come up with this idea?" I asked her lightly. It's cat. It's because of a cat. It was tough to picture a kid that young coming up with such a scary
前
plan.
に家で子豚が死んだことがありましたお腹を空かせたお母さんは 小豚を鍋で茹でたんです。茹で上がった豚は小さくなって、生臭い匂いもなくなりました。
I think she...
私はそれをずっとはっきりと覚えてました。
I think she's actually referring to her cat, but she's hiding like bits and pieces of the truth. Matsui sat hugging her knees, her head resting on them. That was the same pose as when she had when her cat died. Watching the meat in the water, she spoke to me. Her eyes, as if she were remembering something, were empty and cold. I heard Tung say that if you end up at the swine demons, he'd chow down on you. Do you reckon he'd munch on you, raw or cooked up?
わからない。多分生。
Why'd you figure that?
肉を煮たら人間に見えなくなるから。
Oh, fuck.
そういうやつは私たちの姿を見ながら食べたいでしょう。でも一度に食べきれず、食べられるだけ食べて残りは捨てられるでしょう。
Man, this VN is so fucked up. She continued, extrapolating her guesses. Hard to imagine analyzing stuff like this is suited to her age. Felt odd chatting with her. Though she looked 9, yet was in fact 11 years old, and her insights gave the impression of someone closer to my age. During the dismemberment of Tung's body earlier, I couldn't stand it, looking away and feeling the urge to vomit. She, on the other hand, remained cool, snorting the body parts as if they were just meat, or sorting. Sometimes she coughed from the smell, but that was it. I was getting more curious. Was she really from a regular farming family? What kind of experiences could make someone like her age like this? Oh, something's gonna happen to her family. Fuck. Maybe the swine demon got her family, because the swine demon was experimenting, trying all sorts of different people to literally fuck up. I heard something at the tavern once. There are people in this world who are born undead. Undead people have no feelings, don't cry, don't laugh, don't fear. They can do anything calmly, just like grown-ups, even when they're kids. Scary stuff. No way, she wasn't like them undead types. When I spoke to her before, she seemed genuinely scared, not putting on a show. And when she played with the other lambs, she seemed genuinely happy. It's like she got both the innocence of a child and the maturity of an adult. Strange. This last was too strange. I kept thinking about her. My hands didn't stop, repeatedly throwing chunks of meat into the water. Oh my god, that's tongue. That's tongue, that's tongue, that's tongue, and that's all tongue. Tossing and tossing until there was nothing left in the wooden basin. I moved Tongue from one place to another. Piece by piece, he went into the water. The fat ones floated up and the thin ones sank down. Remind me of the frogs bobbling up and down in the water. Tongue. I thought it might sound hypocritical to say so. Seeing him like that, it did feel a bit sad. Even if he was killed, he wouldn't have wanted to end up like that. I shouldn't have let it happen, even if I killed him. Maybe only that swine demon who eats alive kids deserves such a fate. But how could that be possible? Some people were born into wealth and privilege, destined for a life of luxury. No matter how far they fell, they still wouldn't end up being cooked, right? The meat looks cooked white. We have to bag it soon. After cooking for a while, I noticed the meat was almost done, so I talked to Mansui beside me. She softly replied, her eyes still fixed on the rolling meat. After bagging it up, we'll need to clean the place too. The blood smell is too strong. Gotta scrub it off. She nodded in agreement. Tonight you'll sleep in my room. Tomorrow we'll rouse the lambs and explain. I thought she was gonna say, wakarimashita. She nodded. The last was likely worn out. She was keeping her responses short and to the point. Asking her anything, I'd just get a quick answer. She looked tired. Maybe all the lambs are like that. They want to sleep when it's time. She suddenly spoke, as if wanting to tell me something. What's up? Can't get into the inn's kitchen. I'll get you some rations later. Yeah, I don't think this is the meat you want. Fair enough. Damn, they have bits of hair here too. Okay. After a quick break, we resumed work once the meat was cooked. I packed the cooked meat into a bag and dumped the rest into the cesspool. She cleaned the blood-stained tub and scrubbed the bathhouse repeatedly. When we finished all that, we took a bath in the bathhouse. I used a tub and she used a bucket, both of us washing separately. Maybe we were just too tired and wanted to finish quickly and go to bed. Maybe it was just dissecting Tung's body together. Me and the lass, we were used to each other. We weren't shy anymore. After the bath, we only slept for an hour. Shortly after returning to our room, the sky outside began to lighten, with distant bells followed by roosters and dogs barking. I woke up first and then nudged the lass beside me, and went to the next door to wake up the other lambs. I gathered them to discuss our next moves. Alright. Oh man, I think because that scene is over, I feel comfortable stopping here. That was a lot longer than I thought, but because the cleanup was just kind of brutal. Oh man, like I mentioned this earlier, but I think Tung was a very interesting character. I'm very, very happy with how they did him. That being said, I don't actually feel that badly about him dying, because I'm not gonna lie, some parts of his character was kind of annoying with how selfish he was, but I feel like a lot of the things he said were very reasonable from his point of view, but he was also very conniving and very sneaky. He was definitely like one of the definitions of sus. Oh man, but like seeing how he died was, or not even how he died, but how we dealt with his body afterwards was so brutal. He had a fairly quick death, so it's not like he was in too much pain, but like, man, we really desecrated that body. But honestly, fuck him. We died the other route after trying to like spare him, so bitch deserved it. That's what I'm saying. But oh man, this is terrible. I'm really interested on what's gonna happen next, because I mean, it's basically the goal we had this entire time suddenly disappeared. We got to do something else now, and that's really interesting. And I'm curious about this one person that he's like, I got a connection, I'm gonna use that, because he didn't really have many. I feel like instead of saving this person, he's gonna be like he spared her life or something. But either way, we'll find out what Liang is gonna do with the gang next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!